a bit of Cajun French. What do you think? Could you give us a little time? Landry has been a part of Swamp People since its first season in 2010. He is one of the few original cast members who has been a regular for more than one season. But could he be hiding something? Frick, could he be hiding something? People also know him for working closely with his family, especially his boys who often appear with him in the show. Now, relax while we tell you about the secret in his life. What is Troy Landry? American Troy Landry is a reality TV star on the History Channel for his role as an alligator hunter on the show Swamp People. He is one of the most familiar faces on the show, which follows the lives of alligator hunters in Louisiana during the hunting season. Oh. This is how the show got national attention. Fans are said to have called him King of the Swamp many times. Troy was famous for the way he hunted, his Cajun accent, and his catchphrases, such as cheated him. If things don't change, I hope we can stay close and bring everyone together. Win together. My mom has had enough. Family and background. Wayne Troy Landry was born in the Louisiana town of Pierre Part on June 9, 1960. Pierre Part is in Assumption Parish. He grew up in a home where people spoke Cajun and where there was water, wildlife, and a community that is said to be very connected to the land. People say that Troy's childhood was shaped by activities in the outdoors, such as shooting, fishing, trapping, and living off of the swamp. Duffy and Myrtle Landry had more than one child. He was one of them. Bubba Landry and Guy Landry are his two brothers. It is said that both of them have experience with the same kind of outdoor life. Reports say that the Landry family has lived in the swamp area for at least 3 generations. Troy and his brothers are said to have learned how to hunt and trap from their dad, Duffy. From a very young age, Troy is said to have been shooting and fishing for money regularly. He had to hunt alligators during Louisiana's gator season and catch crabs at other times of the year as part of his job. Some people thought these were hobbies, but people in that area didn't think they were hobbies. They were ways to make a living in a place where using natural resources was important for life. In the end, Troy married Bernita Landry, who worked as a teacher and publicist. To raise their family, they built a house in Pierre Part. They have 3 kids together. Troy's grandson from Bernita's last relationship is Brandon Landry. Jacob Landry and Chase Landry are their real children, and they both appear on Swamp People all the time. Following in their dad's ways, Jacob and Chase have been gator hunting since they were young. In the end, they were important parts of the Swamp People cast and helped carry on the Landry family practice. Despite his fame, Troy's marriage is said to be steady and private at this point. His wife has stayed out of the public eye for the most part, but she does show up in behind-the-scenes shows and documentaries from time to time. People have said that the Landry family is stable, united, and very close to their Cajun roots. It is said that Troy was already known as the best alligator hunter in his area when TV makers found him. They're either stuck behind a desk or in our office. Clint. Aren't we lucky? Yay! Yes, become a star. In 2010, when the History Channel chose to start a new reality show called Swamp People, Troy Landry became famous all over the country. There are rumors that the show was made to show how alligator shooters in Louisiana live. And the show is said to be mostly about the dangers, traditions, and way of life that come with the state's yearly gator hunting season. Reports say that the producers looked at a lot of different shooters for the part, but Troy stood out for a number of reasons. He was already known in the Bayou as one of the best and most experienced shooters in the area, which is one reason. His fame went beyond Pierre Part, where he was born and raised, and he had been making a steady living from the swamp for decades. Troy was great for TV because he was knowledgeable and spoke with a thick Cajun accent that made people feel like they were in Louisiana. He led his kids and business partners through dangerous hunts in a calm but firm way. His catchphrase, "Shoot 'em," which he yelled when an alligator came out of the water during scary scenes, quickly became an important part of the show. Troy became the show's star right from the start because he wasn't loud or flashy, but he was real. People in rural areas could relate to him because he worked hard, loved his family, and knew how the swamp worked. And interesting to people from the city who had never seen this way of life before. People quickly saw him as a father figure, an expert on survival, and a hero in the area. As Swamp People became more well-known, so did Troy's public image. The show gained fans all over the world and reached millions of viewers in the US. Troy started to show up at fan events, firearms shows, and outdoor expos. Even though he was getting more famous, he didn't move. He stayed in the same house near the water in Pierre Part. He didn't try to separate himself from his TV persona. He made sure that what people saw on TV was the same person they saw in real life. Troy's kids, Jacob and Chase, have also played important parts in the show over the years, which has helped the Landry name last through different seasons. A lot of the time, Troy trained and led them on TV. Show the world how to pass on skills, patience, and responsibility from one family to the next. The show had an emotional feel and depth because of how their family worked together. It was different from other reality shows that were only about action or drama. When the last few seasons of Swamp People came out, Andre Landry was more than just a cast member. He was the team's public face. It was said by fans that they didn't just watch for the thrill of the hunt. People watched for Troy, and his presence on the show gave it a sense of stability. He played the same part on the show for more than 10 years, which helped it stay popular even as the cast and style changed. Troy's rise to fame wasn't caused by celebrity culture or overnight fame. It was because he lived the life that the show was meant to show, achieved things. People say that Troy Landry's accomplishments include both his life before he became famous and his success after Swamp People made him famous. Even though he didn't set out to become famous, his long career as a professional hunter and his natural ability to lead, both on and off screen, have made him one of the most popular and important people in outdoor reality TV. Troy is said to have built a strong name in the bayou as one of Louisiana's best and most reliable alligator hunters long before he ever went on TV. He lived in the swamp and worked as a professional fisherman and seasonal alligator hunter. It was well known in the area that he could catch a lot of alligators during the short hunting season. However, he had to be consistent, which wasn't easy because the job required working in dangerous waters and extreme weather. When the first season of Swamp People aired in 2010, Troy stood out right away. His performance on the show was marked by cool leadership, steady hands, and sharp instincts that are said to have helped make the show a hit. In its first few seasons, the show always had high numbers, and Troy quickly became the most well-known cast member. People started to associate his catchphrases, like "Shoot 'em," with the show, and are said to have helped sell and brand it. Fans accepted his personality because they liked it and had mostly never seen anything like it on a reality TV show. He quickly became famous all over the country. One of Troy's most important contributions is helping to keep Cajun culture alive and show it off to the whole country. Through his words, actions, and life, he showed the show's fans how swamp communities really live, what they believe, and how they talk. The way rural Americans were portrayed in popular media was different from how Troy helped humanize and elevate a culture that was said to be often overlooked. Another big accomplishment is that he has been on Swamp People for over 10 years of shooting. Truth TV stars often leave the show or are replaced, but Troy stayed an important part of its success because he helped train new cast members and worked on camera with his boys. He helped the show stay focused on real hunting instead of made-up drama, and his reliability gave the show longevity and respect. Aside from TV, Troy also made branded goods like hats, shirts, decals, and outdoor gear with his picture and words on them. Fans, especially in southern states, like these goods, which helped him make a lot of money. Troy is also said to help teach people about wildlife and make public visits at hunting and fishing expos all over the United States. These events have given him a chance to meet fans in person and encourage safe behavior outside. He was like an unofficial representative of Louisiana's swamp history. Even with all of this, Troy Landry has kept a low profile in the public eye because he still lives in his city and works closely with his family. He has never let his fame separate him from his roots. His most important accomplishments are not awards or news stories, but how he has affected his friends, his community, and the preservation of culture through his work. When things began to shift, Troy Landry had been the face of Swamp People for a long time. He had been in almost every episode of the show since it began in 2010. He was always there as a leader and an honest voice that kept the show grounded season after season. People who had been watching the show for a long time started to notice something was off around the beginning of 2022. He was on the show less often, and while in earlier seasons, he was often the center of attention with his kids Jacob and Chase, he was now missing from several episodes. News sources say that fans started to worry online. There were those who thought he was taking a step back because he was getting older, and those who thought it was something more serious. In earlier years of the show, Troy stayed even when other cast members quit, becoming the one who always was there. He stopped showing up in shows for no reason, which was a sign that something was wrong. Concern grew when Troy stopped taking part in other public events as well. At these public events, his fans could talk to him, take pictures with him, and hear stories about what life was like in the swamp. But he missed almost all of them in 2022 and 2023. His name was sometimes mentioned as a guest, but later, the organizers said he couldn't make it without giving a reason. At the same time, Troy's official social media account stopped posting behind-the-scenes pictures, posts about family fishing trips, and ads for new merchandise. They stopped posting anything at all. People said that posting anything at all. People said that posts that used to show the daily rhythms of his life were no longer accessible. When there was anything shared at all, it was usually promotional content that was planned ahead of time and not personal updates. People who watched the show, especially those who started with the first season, knew right away that something was wrong. Fans and Reddit users started to talk about it in reported fan groups and posts. For example, was his absence because of his health or a problem with his family? Some people thought it might be a problem with the network's deal when it came to light, but there was no clear answer. What made things even scarier was that neither Troy nor the History Channel producers made a public statement to explain what was going on. Others in the group tried to fill the gap as the show went on. Jacob and Chase Landry also kept busy, and other shooting families were added to the cast to make it more interesting. However, viewers who had tuned in just for Troy and the show's emotional center could tell that it wasn't there. And wasn't there. Reports say that some people started to watch older shows again and thought about how important he used to be. They said he was important, not only because he knew how to hunt alligators, but also because he brought heart and morals to the program. Others were said to have told personal stories about meeting him in person and how friendly, funny, and humble he was. These changes did not happen all at once. With each new season, though, the change became clearer. His voice used to be a driving force in telling stories and making important decisions, but now it couldn't be heard. During the hunts, Jacob would sometimes talk about his father by saying that he was resting or taking it easy, but he never said directly what had caused Troy to slowly disappear. By the end of the 14th season, his absence could no longer be written off as short-term. His fans, who had grown up watching him, didn't know what to think about the man they had trusted for over a decade and how he had disappeared. People were worried because of the silence. What began as a few shows missing turned into a mystery. It became more and more clear over time that Troy Landry had been through something big that he and his family were not wanting to talk about. Quiet in public and questions in private. It was said that Troy Landry's fans were confused as his absence got longer and more obvious. It had once seemed like the man and his audience had a personal link. But all of a sudden, there was silence.